Good afternoon, chat, and howdy. So, we got ourselves a request. I was not expecting this one to come in, but I figured I could get it done today before I head on a hike. I'll be doing Radar Hill Road over in Fort Shafter. Should be a good time. Wrong page. Hang on. Unprofessional. Aloha Bowl. I watched your video on the 9-axis political quiz and agreed with you that some of the questions were not... that some of the questions were not very well written. I think the SapplyValues test is better. Would you be willing to take it and produce that as a stream? Consider this a consultation. Yes, I would. And for those of you who would like me to do really anything else on stream, you can do the same thing. All you got to do is askfullmuscle@gmail.com. All right, so if that is the case, we're going to go ahead and roll up window capture. That ought to do. Minimize the window. Okay. And then we'll throw this bad boy on. Nice. Okay. So we got today, we have, oops, there we go. Today, damn it. There we go. Today we have the SapplyValues test. By the way, this is cold Japanese barley tea. Very nice. I've got that, and as would be befitting of a bowl, fresh carrots, because I'm trying not to overeat today, because I did that yesterday. Anyway, there you go. You want some ASMR. All right, enough of that foolishness. So, SapplyValues looks like the basic political compass test, but it has a third dimension. Instead of 9 axes, it's down to 3. I do think 9 is a bit more 3 is a bit more reasonable than 9. So let's give this a shot. Click here to start. Okay. You'll be presented with a series of statements. For each one, click the button with your opinion on it. Proceed. Do we go shuffled or unshuffled? I think we shuffle it. I don't think it matters. Class is the primary division of society. No, I disagree with that. I would say no. In fact, not just no, but strongly, because I don't think society has to have any inherent divisions, period. But if it is, it's very seldom class. It sounds like some Marxist crap. It sounds like, you know, the only war is the class war and all that other BS. No. When it comes to divisions in society, sometimes they're racial, sometimes they're ethnic, sometimes they are class. But sometimes, you know, they are just between people who produce and people who consume. You know, producers and parasites, if you want to go that route. So I go strongly disagree. State schools are a bad idea because our state shouldn't be influencing our children. No, state schools can be a bad idea, but at the same time, education is a job that parents don't necessarily want to do themselves or don't have the capacity to do. And while I believe it is the duty of families to have one parent stay at home to raise the children, most parents would rather consume more and outsource the role of child raising to the state. So what are you going to do? I'd say disagree with this. Gender is a social construct, not a natural state of affairs. I could not give a single flying fuck about gender. In times of crisis, safety becomes more important than civil liberties. Disagree. There are limits, right? Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, but in general, no, civil liberties should take the day. Freedom of business is the best practical way a society can prosper. Strongly agree with that, yes. Land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. Disagree. Land is inherently unproductive. You can add labor to land to make it much more valuable, for the most part. Obviously, right, some land's going to have like natural trees growing on it, but even that, right, it's much more productive to maintain a fruit grove than it is to just have woodland with some trees in it. Only divisions I know is Subdivisions by Rush, and that song slaps. Indeed it does. I'm gonna put the comments down here. That's a little bit better. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna have it. There we go. Have it off to the side. So land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. Strongly disagree. Wages are always fair, as employers know best what a worker's labor is worth. No, employers can collude to drive labor down. That's why labor unions exist, which is labor colluding to drive wages up. The free market always knows what labor is worth. The free market will tell you, but employers have an incentive to underpay as much as they can. I don't like the concept of fair wages in general. The word fairness in terms of economics is usually a canard. So on one hand, I get what this question is driving at, but on the other, no, I would not agree with that. Multiculturalism is bad. Depends on which cultures. I would say neutral. It depends on which cultures and how they interact. Economic inequality is too high in the world. Disagree. I think there are certainly third world countries that could be managed and run better, and if they were, you would see a decrease in economic inequality. But in a sense of that, global poverty as a percentage of the world population has never been lower, so strongly disagree. Homosexuality is against my values. Not really, but as a Catholic, technically it's a sin, but if Pope Francis said, who am I to judge, I'm going to go with that one as well. So I'm going to go with neutral. Exploitation is an outdated term. The struggles of 1800s capitalism don't exist anymore. They don't here in the United States, which is, I think, what this question is talking about. They certainly do in sweatshops over in less developed countries. Absolutely they do. But those sweatshops are still better jobs than what came beforehand. But in general, exploitation is an out-of-date term, for the US anyway. Individuals' bodies are their own property. They should be able to do anything they desire to it. Yes, this includes prostitution. I would say to a degree, right? You know, setting yourself on fire naked in the town square might be a bit much, but in general, yes. Transgender individuals should not be able to adopt children. No, not touching this one with a 10-foot fucking pole. I don't really care about this one either. I don't care about trans rights. Not really. I don't have a strong opinion. Just let people be. This is one where it used to be about gay couples. I generally don't like single people adopting, but if that's better than the foster system. In general, it should be 2 people. I don't care if it's 2 dads or 2 moms, as long as one of them stays home to raise them. That would be my ideal nuclear family is a 1-income family. I don't care who's earning the income. I don't care which genders are which parents, but I do insist upon there being someone home to raise the kids. So I'm going to go with neutral here. Animals deserve certain universal rights. No, I like food. Maybe in the future we can get to that point, but not now. Sometimes it is right the government may spy on its citizens to combat extremists and terrorists. Disagree. Society requires structure and bureaucracy in order to function. To an extent. To what extent, though, is the question. In order to function, yes, a little bit is necessary. This is the framework of the Constitution is how to set that up in the United States. Agree. The death penalty should exist for certain crimes. No. Just because it's a way. Okay. If you're going to do the death penalty, be based like South Carolina and use firing squads. We're bringing that back. I'm so fucking sick of lethal injections. It's just a waste of taxpayer money. I'm much bigger a fan of you know, if you truly are committing a heinous crime, you should spend the rest of your life trying to help society to atone for that crime. If you are a serial rapist, for instance, and I don't care if this gets demonetized, if you are a serial rapist, I think your sentence should involve, I don't know, doing charitable work, obviously under supervision, to help women in need. If you were, you know, come up with a creative, there are creative ways that are not necessarily cruel and unusual punishments that are a better use of the life than just murdering someone. And the state could be wrong. That's the other thing. There have been innocent people sentenced to death, and that is a tragedy. So I disagree, but not very strongly. Although if you're going to have the death penalty, make it quick, make it cheap. Harder you work, the more progress up the social ladder. In general, the social ladder, not necessarily, but the economic one, yes. I think that's what this is saying, but I'm going to go with agree. Not strongly, though. If it said economic, I'd say strongly. But social ladder, yes. In general, rich people are more socially successful, and generally speaking, the harder you work, the richer you get. Generally speaking. Charity is a better way of helping those in need than social welfare. It depends on the charity, depends on the welfare. So I go neutral here. Person should be able to worship whomever or whatever they want. Yeah, pretty much. It's freedom of religion. It's in the Constitution. I mean, yeah, you could castrate someone, you know, someone who's a serial sexual assaulter, and again, have them do work for various women's charities or whatever for the rest of their life. Let's see. Parents should hold absolute power over their children as they are older and more experienced. For the most part, yes. There are some exceptions to that rule, but in general, yeah. As a parent, you are responsible for your child. That also means parents are liable to blame if the children fuck up. Don't take the responsibility of having a child lightly. I strongly believe one of the biggest mistakes people made is having kids they're not ready for or cannot afford. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Disagree. No. Privacy is intrinsically valuable. Government should, at most, provide emergency services and law enforcement. Less government intervention is better, but there are some other things the government should provide. Postal service. So I would say I'm not quite that extreme, but I don't necessarily disagree with this statement. So I'll go in neutral. Two consenting individuals should be able to do whatever they want with each other, even if it makes me uncomfortable. Provided it's not in public. So I'd go with agree. It is human nature to be greedy. Yes. We are inherently self-serving individuals. It's biological. We are programmed to sustain ourselves. That includes, you know, hunting animals, or, you know, it is what it is. There is some law of the jungle shit in our basic DNA. The current welfare system should be expanded to further combat inequality. Absolutely not. Drugs are harmful and should be banned. Absolutely not. Well, drugs are harmful, but they shouldn't be banned. Nudism is perfectly natural. Yes, actually. I think we in the United States have a little bit too prudish an attitude towards it. I think I'd be able to do a lot more stuff that my audience wants if it were less of a taboo in this country. I'll put it that way. So yes. Without democracy, a society is nothing. No, I believe democracy is important, but at the same time, the society still exists. You can have a benevolent, non-democratic society. I tend to think democracy does better overall, but it's possible. I would just say it's just not very likely. There have been benevolent monarchs, so disagree. Smaller the government, the freer the people. Yes, in general, yeah, leave people alone. Ego is a dangerous vice. Thanks, Freud. That's one way of putting it. Authority figures if morally correct or a good thing for society. But who defines moral correctness? I'd go neutral on this one. Only the government can fairly and effectively regulate organizations. Which organizations? Labor unions? Business? In some instances, yes, you need government to break up trusts and monopolies, for instance. In others, government regulation can cause unfair or distorted markets. So, depends on the situation here. I'm going to go with neutral. Victimless crime should still be punished. No, it's a waste of the cops' job. Get rid of the laws. Let the cops spend their time on the shit that matters. Police are not created to protect the people, but to uphold the status quo by force. To an extent. Sometimes protecting the people and upholding the status quo are the same thing. But it really depends on situation. So I'd go neutral here. Laws based on cultural values rather than ethical ones aren't justice. Oh, you're getting into philosophy here. No. You know, you are allowed to have cultural values. I personally would prefer that you didn't, but that's a very American take. If you have a society that is largely Islamic and wants to implement Sharia law, they should have the right to do that. I would never live in such a society. I would exit, but I disagree with this statement. I would prefer, again, it's how do you define justice? I would personally prefer, well, I'll go neutral here. Again, it really, yeah. I personally would prefer laws that were not based on cultural values, but you could argue, you know, freedom of the press, all the things I hold dear as an American, those are cultural values as well. So I guess I'll go with disagree. One cannot be moral without religion. Disagree. I know moral agnostics. I know immoral Christians. I know immoral Muslims. So I would disagree with this. Strength is necessary for any government to succeed. To an extent, yes. You can't have a government that's so weak it cannot hold the state together. The Articles of Confederation prove this. Government that provides for everyone is an inherently good idea. Absolutely not. Government should be less involved in the day-to-day life of its citizens. Strongly agree. Mandatory IDs should be used to ensure public safety. Actually, I agree on this one. I know that sounds weird. Sounds a bit non-libertine, but we already effectively have this with Social Security. And Social Security was never designed to be a national ID. Think about, you go to the bank, what do they ask you for? So yes, we should get a national ID system. I agree with that. It would also solve the voter ID issue, which I believe very strongly in voter ID. Autonomy of body extends even to minors and mentally ill and serious criminals. Are we talking like... I mean, how mentally ill are we talking about? Are we talking about someone who like is hallucinating all the time and cannot understand what their body is doing? You know, are they able to harm themselves? I'd say in general, I agree with this one. You know, if you want to self-delete, I think that's your right. I wouldn't, but I would tentatively agree with this. Jury nullification should be legal. No, I would say that's just going to cause problems in the justice system, which is slow enough. I would disagree with this. Organizations and corporations cannot be trusted, need to be regulated by the government. Sometimes, but not always. I think sometimes the regulations can cause more problems. It can be a cure worse than the symptoms. So in general, I would go with disagree. All industry in the bank should be nationalized. Jesus Christ, no. Taxation of the wealthy is a bad idea. Society would be better off without it. In general, See, I prefer an estate tax or a consumption tax to income and capital gains tax. So in general, I would say agree with this. Communism is an ideal that can never work in practice. It's not even an ideal. It's just bad economic theory. But no, we're not designed for communism as humans. Oh. That was it. That wasn't bad. Did you complete this test in a serious or at least unironic manner? All right. Yeah, I'll help with ideology assignment. How'd you classify yourself as? I think I lean lib-right, but I'm still closer to centrist than anything else. Between authoritarian to libertarian, probably centrist again. Culture, I mostly don't give a shit, so neutral. Economics, I would say right-leaning. Not very, but right of center for sure. Authority, I'd say maybe leaning libertarian, but not very strongly. What label would you give to your ideology? I could just say the way of the bull muscleism. Embrace the liftocracy. No. Bull moose-ism. Based in bully pilled. Teddy Roosevelt. Gang. No, I go. Maybe rational libertarianism or moderate libertarian. That's probably the closest I would go. If you could call me a centrist, and I would say, yeah, that's pretty accurate. But I'd say if I'm gonna go in any direction, I would skew lib-right, if I'm guessing. What's your gender? Male. How old are you? 29. Christianity. What country do you live in? United States. Sciences or STEM and humanities? Oh God, sciences, come on. Technically I'm a public sector worker now. Highest level of vocation, bachelor's. Environment do you live in? Bigger city now. I used to live in a small town, or a village really. But now I live in a bigger city. Technically, I'm within the city limits. Physically active are you? Hell yeah, I work out. Did it do it? Big Red Fro Giga Chad. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah. Biceps are sore. Did a good workout today. Okay. I'm clicking it, but it's not doing anything. Oh, don't freeze up on me now. That would be annoying. Is it doing it? Bro, I swear to God. Give me the results. Can we hit back? Can we hit refuse to answer? Oh, here we go. Huh. Wasn't expecting that. I guess I'm further right than I thought. I am fairly pro-capitalism, but I wasn't expecting that. I guess I've moved to the right economically. I'm still about centrist auth lib. I'm slightly more progressive than average, I guess. I don't know where that comes from. I mostly don't give a shit about progressive to conservative issues. Leaning towards moderate standards of sprinkle progressivism, i.e. Teddy Roosevelt, not FDR. Huh. Well, someone screenshot this and put this in chat. Actually, I'll take a snip of it. I guess I've moved to the right. I'm quite surprised by that, actually. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think I'm that far to the right. I do think I've moved right politically or economically over the last few years, and I used to be just right of center. So I could see it. Oh, shit. No, close edge. There we go. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that as a result. I'm actually really rather surprised by that. I mean, so that's the thing. I don't particularly view myself as that far right. I'm trying to think of. I mean, on one hand, I am pretty pro-capitalist. So that was the one question with like, corporations can usually be trusted. They can't, but compared to the alternative of government over regulation, I mean, a corporation isn't trustworthy, but a corporation is predictable. A corporation will maximize profit because that is its stated mission, unless it's a non-profit, in which case you have a different circumstance. But most corporations are run for profit. That is the basic premise of running a business. Speaking of right-wing shit, let's talk about the stock market. Holy shit. Ladies and gents, I've talked about Re-Automotive in the past, but get on this rocket ship before it fucking rolls. Sucker went up 15% today. It's past $8 a share. I've done the math on this. Based on their projected sales, which I think they are gonna more than surpass, this will be $1 billion company by 2026. If that's true, the share price will be about $55 a share. I think they can get there. Very bullish on Re-Automotive. That's REE. All right. Let's check the chat. Any super chats? Nope. I mean, on one hand, I am a capitalist hooer, so there is, I mean, I'm mostly financially motivated. I mean, that's why I go to work. So maybe there's something to it. I gotta say, I was expecting, 3, 4, 5 to the right, but not that far. It's funny, I used to be left of center. I moved all over the place politically. I like what Cookies and Cream says there, but yeah, some of these questions they do make you wonder, like, at what level are we thinking? Local, federal, international? It's the same thing with like 1800 style capitalism. It exists in other countries, doesn't exist here in the US. I think anybody who claims they're being oppressed or exploited in this country is melodramatic, but this was fun. Overall, rather surprised by the results, but there you have it, ladies and gents. Turn the window off. There you have it, ladies and gents. For the person who requested this video, hope this is what you were looking for. Hope you enjoyed. I've got a hike coming up in about 30 minutes. A friend of mine's picking me up, so that is really going to be about it for this little broadcast. Wasn't supposed to be much, but hope y'all liked it. In the meantime, let's talk schedule before I go. I will be live Saturday and Sunday morning next weekend, 5 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, as per the usual. We will be doing rows on Saturday and leg press on Sunday. That should be fun. That should be a lot of good. Those leg press days are always real high volume. That should be very nice. All right. Don't think we have anything else we need to do. Apart from that, so next weekend will be normal schedule. The weekend after that, I will not be on the air. I have a vacation coming up to the Big Island, so that should be a lot of fun. Anyway, until then, y'all, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your habits. Those habits form your values. Damn it. Sorry about that. Make good decisions. Those good decisions form your actions. Those actions form your habits. Those habits form your values. Those values form an ethos. Can be the guide star through the rough waters of life. Wait a minute. I forgot. Wanted to talk about this. I read this book today. It's called Siddhartha. It's by Hermann Hesse. It's a really interesting read. It's about, it's a fairly old book. Some would say it's a classic. It was released, decades ago. The idea was released about a man who lived in the time of the Buddha, met him, experienced life, lived life, a full life, was a priest's son, became an ascetic, I don't know how to say that, became a Casanova, became a rich man, lost all of his money because he just left one day because he was unsatisfied with the life the material world gave him, found happiness and solace in becoming a ferryman because of the person he was talking to, had a son, did not raise the son, so minus points there. The son resented him. The son left in the same way that he left his own father, which is an interesting return to a previous theme, which I like. And there's a lot of wisdom in this book. But the book itself claims that wisdom cannot be taught. Knowledge can be taught, but wisdom must be acquired through one's own actions, which is an interesting way to think about it. More to the point, that book, Siddhartha, is actually the inspiration for one of my favorite songs in the world, Close to the Edge by Yes. And I can see sort of where it's coming from. It's all about, close to the edge, down by the river. And that theme echoes through the novel, and that theme echoes through the song. So it's a very, it's cerebral music, but it made me appreciate Close to the Edge even more than I already did. Absolutely fantastic song, and fantastic album. Might be the best Yes album ever. It's either that or Relayer. I can never make up my mind. But that is actually going to be it for today. For any other consultations, requests, if you're looking for modeling pictures or something of that nature, askbullmuscle@gmail.com. Otherwise, I will see y'all, unless I get a consultation, in which case I'll go live after work at some point this week. I will see y'all Saturday morning, 5 a.m. Shoots. Y'all take care. Love for the hug.